When I was 13, I was in a relationship with a girl I visited almost every day. Her house was close to mine, so it was easy to stop by. I spent so much time there that I knew every little detail about her home. The scent of fresh coffee was always in the air. The family dog would run to the door to greet me. Her parents treated me like I was part of the family. Everything felt normal, but something about the house was strange. I just never paid attention to it. One evening, while we were talking, my girlfriend casually mentioned that the house was haunted. I laughed and played along, but I didn't believe in ghosts. I assumed she was joking or just trying to make things interesting, but then weird things started happening. At first, it was just small sounds, a light tapping here and there. I thought it was just the house settling or the wind, but then we started hearing scratching noises coming from inside her closet. We assumed it was her cat, since it loved hiding in strange places. Maybe it had gotten stuck inside by accident. We got up and opened the closet door, but the cat wasn't there. In fact, nothing was inside except for scratch marks all over the wooden panels. They weren't high up like something had been climbing, they were low, as if a small animal had been desperately trying to get out. The problem was the cat wasn't in the closet. It wasn't even in the room. I wasn't scared, but the whole thing felt wrong. I told myself it was just a rat or a mouse, even though I had never seen one in the house before. But after that, the scratching continued, and over time, the closet door became covered in deep marks. The paint started peeling off. Other things felt strange too. The air in certain rooms was heavy and cold. The garage and the master bedroom had an odd feeling, like someone was watching us. I tried to stay logical. I told myself there had to be an explanation. Then something happened that made me question everything I believed in. One weekend, my girlfriend invited me over. I arrived and noticed something strange. There were no cars in the driveway, meaning no one was home except her. She answered the door and let me in. We went to her room to watch TV and eat snacks. We sat there laughing, talking about random things, and then we turned off the TV and just sat together in the quiet. That was when we heard it, a voice calling my girlfriend's name from just outside the bedroom door. It sounded exactly like her sister. We looked at each other confused. Her sister wasn't supposed to be home yet. We got up and walked into the hallway, but the house was empty. We called out to her sister, but no one answered. We checked every room, the kitchen, the living room, even the front porch, but there was no sign of her. We convinced ourselves it was just our imagination. Maybe a noise from outside had sounded similar to her voice. We went back to her room, but this time we left the door open just in case. We heard it again minutes later. The same voice called her name again, but this time it didn't sound like it was coming from outside the door. It sounded like the entire house had spoken. It wasn't just loud, it was unnatural. The voice had no emotion, no rise or fall in tone. It was like a perfect recording being played again and again. We panicked and ran through the house again, searching every possible hiding spot. Nothing was there. No sign of her sister, no sign of anyone. We couldn't even tell where the voice had come from. We were completely alone, but the house had spoken. An hour later, we heard her dad's truck pull up in the driveway. We watched as the rear passenger door opened and her sister stepped out. She walked up to the house like nothing was wrong. We met them at the door and immediately asked her why she had been calling out to my girlfriend earlier. Her sister just stared at us confused. She had no idea what we were talking about. She said she had been out shopping since morning. Her dad backed her up and confirmed they had been gone all day. They had just returned at that moment. That was when we told them what had happened. We described how we heard her voice, how we searched the house, how it had called my girlfriend's name twice. Her sister's face turned pale. She suddenly looked sick. Without saying a word, she grabbed my girlfriend's arm and pulled her outside onto the back porch. They talked in private for about 10 minutes. When my girlfriend came back inside, she looked nervous but tried to act normal. I asked her what was wrong. She hesitated before answering. She said her sister only had one question: did we go inside her room? I told her I had stepped inside for a second, and she immediately got mad. She told me if I ever Heard her voice again while she was not home. I should never go near her. Room above her sister's bed there was a small attic door. She told me something terrifying had happened to her once. She woke up in the middle of the night to find the attic door cracked open, and staring down at her from the darkness was her own face. Her family moved out of that house years ago. I have thought about going back and asking the new owners if they have ever experienced anything strange, but I don't want to be that person who shows up at a stranger's door asking about ghosts and demons. Still, I wonder about that house. I wonder what was inside that attic. I wonder why it knew my girlfriend's name, because whatever it was still there.